Welcome back to America's Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. This segment is brought to you by Xceligent, building data everywhere. If you haven't checked out Xceligent, do. It's xceligent.com. Well, today we're talking advanced 1031 exchange strategies. My guest is Ricky Novak. He's CEO of Strategic 1031 Exchange Advisors. And Ricky, in the previous segment, we talked about some of the basics of 1031 exchanges. Now I'd like to get a little more involved ones because I think they're very interesting. All the things that you can do, the 1031, are just incredible. And we've been doing them here in our shop for 30 years. I just love them. And one of those is a reverse exchange, right? And wasn't the first exchange a reverse? And tell us how that would work.
Yeah, a reverse exchange is a great tool, especially in today's market, right? We have, a fairly frothy market in some areas. We have a lot of competition for real estate. So one of the concerns is if you're going to sell your property in a 1031 exchange, will you find good, solid replacement property?
That's what people are worried about. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the reverse exchange is a great fit. Assuming that the taxpayer has the financial capability of doing this, essentially what it allows you to do is identify and purchase replacement property before you ever sell your relinquished property. The difference is the taxpayer is not allowed to directly take title to this property. So what happens is the intermediary steps in and serves as an accommodating title holder. So the taxpayer has to fund the intermediary as this accommodating title holder to go out and buy the property and hold it. And now, once you hold this property, the goal is to sell the relinquished property, and then in order to wrap up the reverse, the intermediary transfers the property that has been held by the accommodating title holder. So it's called a reverse because essentially you're buying the replacement property first, selling the relinquished property second.
And was the very first 1031 exchange, the Starker, was that a reverse?
Starker was a forward exchange.
Was a forward. Okay.
If you look at those exchange rules, when people looked at Starker, it was it okay to use this intermediary to step into this kind of transaction?
Right. So do you still have the same time periods to sell your relinquished property from the date you bought the replacement?
So if you look at a reverse exchange and you want to follow the safe harbor rules, so whenever the IRS wants to give you a blueprint and tell you if you follow these rules, we guarantee you that you'll get the benefit you're hoping for. Yeah. In a reverse exchange, if you follow the safe harbor, you still have to wrap everything up in 180 days. So from the day the intermediary through the accommodating title holder acquires this property for you, you have 45 days to identify what you want to sell, and then a total of 180 days to both sell it and acquire the property. We call it the parked property, right? The property the accommodating title holder has been holding. 180 days to acquire that. Now that's the safe harbor. Last year, interesting, there was a new case that came out called Estate of Bartel. And in that state, the taxpayer essentially took much longer than 180 days to complete the exchange. And there have been previous things out there on these non-safe harbor reverses where the taxpayer took longer than 180 days to complete everything. But based on this recent case, a lot of people feel very comfortable that in any reverse exchange format, you actually can go beyond 180 days now.
But just in the reverse format?
Correct, only in reverse exchanges. So a reverse construction, anything where an acquisition is the first step to the exchange.
Okay. Well, in the situation where the taxpayer, the investor, has the money to acquire the replacement property first, I think that's golden because most of the properties out there today, if you want to sell it quick, well, we can sell it quick.
Right.
Give us a call. So it's easier to sell today than sometimes than find that replacement property.
That's exactly the case. Right. And so, reverse is a great tool in today's particular market.
And you're an intermediary, so I guess at any time then there's a lot of property. So you're a big property owner.
We do. CoStar calls us all the time wanting information.
Right. All right, and brokers like us calling, hey, will you sell that? No, it's parked.
Yep.
Yeah. So the ID process, I think some of the questions I get from from people that call me and email me from the show say, well, what is the actual ID process? So I got that 45-day period, whether it's a reverse or just a standard delayed. What are the requirements for IDing a property?
So if you look at the ID period, the important thing is you have to unambiguously identify the property. You have to be clear.
It's not every dollar store in Georgia.
Exactly, right? You have to give the actual address or the legal description of the property. Also, if you're doing a construction exchange where the improvements are part of the replacement property, you also have to be able to identify the to-be-completed improvements.
Okay, and who do you give that notice to? Your intermediary?
So if you ask me the question, the answer is yes. If you read the tax code, it says the taxpayer actually can identify to any disinterested third party. Well, that creates a lot of chaos. So we actually ask our clients to identify to us so we can have a copy of it in the file in case they're ever audited by the IRS.
Okay, and speaking of disinterested, that brings up another thing I think that some people do wrong in some cases. When choosing your intermediary, can it be your broker that's helping you with the transaction or your attorney that's helping you with the transactions?
So again, if you look at what the rules say that you cannot have had any kind of agency relationship with your intermediary within the 2 preceding years. So, your real estate broker, if you've been transacting with them, your attorney, anyone that you already have a pre-established agency relationship with is precluded from serving in that capacity.
Right, and I've had people ask us to be their intermediary, and I'm like, first of all, I'd rather you have someone, an intermediary that's experienced that does it all the time. That's tax attorney like you, Ricky. But also, I want to be their broker, really. I want to sell the property and find them a replacement property. So if the broker's involved in that, then he can't really be the intermediary, right?
Well, and there are a lot of rules too, right? Yeah. So as a broker, why would you want to take the liability on your shoulders of not complying with the tax rules because that's not your area of expertise?
Right.
Where we see the problem most prominent is in smaller towns, right? Where you look at it and the best real estate attorney also does 7 other things, and it's the guy you trust because you went to school with him, so you're going to ask him to serve as your intermediary.
Right. Well, let's talk about construction exchange. That's another exchange that is a great strategy for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Again, looking in today's environment, a lot of people are looking for value add opportunities. Also, people may be selling an asset. They can't find a quality replacement property. So if they could buy some dirt and build, do the vertical construction, that may work better for them. So a construction exchange allows you to not only acquire property, but improve that property so that the value of the purchase price plus improvements gets you to your target replacement. Again, the intermediary is serving in 2 roles, right? You have your intermediary, but they're also serving as the accommodating title holder, meaning they're holding that property while those improvements are being completed.
Okay, and that could be a ground-up construction or just some renovations?
Absolutely, either one works. So you sell a property for $12 million and you go find a great $10 million replacement. Instead of paying tax on that $2 million, you can put it into the the value add retrofit on the property.
Okay, quick answer. I've got $100,000 left. I've 1031 everything else, but I got $100,000 of boot left. What happens?
You pay tax on it unless you've maybe identified other property you can go purchase, so you have multiple replacements.
Yeah, all right. All right, well, stay with us. We're going to take a break, and we're going to talk about some more 1031 strategies, including mistakes to avoid. That's one of the big things you want to watch out for with a 1031. And we're going to talk about some best practices. We've been doing 1031 exchanges for 30 years, and I think some people, when they're in the situation, are running around like a chicken with their head cut off. And I'll give you some ideas to make the process smoother. Stay with us. I'm Michael Bull. This is America's Commercial Real Estate Show. Hey there, thanks for checking out the Commercial Real Estate Show. Don't miss a video of special interest to you. Be sure to subscribe below. And if you appreciate the videos, be sure and thank our sponsors. There's a link to more information about them in the description. For more videos, podcasts, and articles, check out CREshow.com.